Hi, this is Empire of the Mind. I'm Dr. Bruce Gilley. This week I will continue with the interview with the British legal scholar Dr. Wanjiru Njoya. We talk about why David Hume makes some people feel unsafe, the value of civilization, and why colonialism brought new things. Really happy to have Wanjiru Njoya on the Empire of the Mind podcast today. And so many great things we could talk about with Dr. Njoya, but I chose the essay she wrote recently called Civilization is for Everyone. What happened with David Hume? Can you backfill us on the story here?
So the story that I was writing about was some students who said that they felt unsafe because of the university mentioning the name of David Hume. And the reason they said they felt unsafe was because in his writing, he uses racist language. Okay, so they said just by seeing his name around, they don't feel welcome, they don't feel safe. And so the university, as you probably know, many universities have done this, decided to take down the name. It is absolutely ridiculous to go back in history and judge what people said then about their observations of the world as it then was. And one of the lecturers wrote on his Twitter, "Civilization is for everyone." And that made the students feel even more unsafe. And I just thought it curious to see that as one of the examples that they used, when they said, there's racism, we feel unsafe. And that was one of the examples they used, that he tweeted, "Civilization is for everyone." So I was just trying to explore, why would anyone find the idea of civilization threatening? Because I don't doubt that there are people who find it threatening and they feel, insulted when they hear the word civilization. So that's what I was trying to explore in that essay, and just trying to explain that it's not a threatening idea, it's a celebration of our common humanity.
Every time we see a group which finds itself surrounded by people who it's able to conquer or haven't developed the same material levels they have, we find that group declaring itself to be somehow innately superior. It just seems to be a universal human fact until we get to the time of globalization, where the availability of data shows, that's not a tenable viewpoint anymore.
Well, why isn't it a tenable viewpoint? I think there's actually a positive side to that sense that people have, that what we're doing is a good thing, and what we're doing is the right thing, and what we're doing is the better thing, and what we're doing is the superior thing. That's surely why we think what we think. If you thought your way of doing things was inferior, why would you do it? You've surely chosen to do things the way you do because you think it's superior. And surely when you see other people doing things the way you've chosen not to do, if you thought their way of doing things was superior, you'd adopt it. And if you thought your way of doing things was superior, you'd say, hey, of course that's what you'd say. My way of doing things is superior. And the good thing about that is for somebody to say, wow, I know how to read and write, and I think that's a superior way to live, and I'm going to teach people to read and write, then they can live in a superior manner. That's actually a really good thing. Or to say, our civilization is based on trade and, the division of labor, and I think that's superior to hunting and gathering. Therefore, off I go, I'm going to go and spread the good news.
So I think these persuasive arguments were always kind of co-present with coercion or, the use of force in order to spread one form of rule or one civilization and replace another one.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, we just focus on the use of force in colonialism because that's what makes the news these days. When people want to explain why they're so appalled, they might say, oh, look at this battle, and that it wasn't a fair battle. So we focus on it And you're absolutely right. We forget that it is not the whole picture. It's not even a big part of the picture. I mean, even if you think about the government coming in, I know more about the British colonial service. The government came in much later, after the trading companies went in. It all started with trade, and the idea of force and armies always came later. So, but there's another element of the human spirit that perhaps we haven't mentioned, and that's that people like new things, and people are curious, and there was a lot of that going on, and people saying, "Oh, well, this is new, and how does this work? And that's rather cool, and I want one of those." There was a lot of that going on. It wasn't, the way you'd think to see it now, somebody arriving with a gun and saying, "You must read this book, otherwise I'll shoot you." That's ridiculous.
I'm writing a book on German colonialism about Robert Koch, who is the great bacteriologist, Nobel Prize winner, found the cure for malaria, found the cure for sleeping sickness. I mean, a brilliant German scientist. And he goes to East Africa in 1907, and they set up a camp research station on Lake Victoria. And Koch is very puzzled about why the natives who use these wooden boats to cross and fish on Lake Victoria don't use the quite readily available tar to seal the seams of the boats, because he says what happens is they go out and they have to bail furiously, because if the boat sinks, they'll all be eaten by crocodiles. And Koch says, I just taught them a very simple thing. Take this bark from this tree, smear it between the seams, and you'll all be better off. And at least as he reported it, there was no pushback. There was no protest about his offering something that seemed to work better, save lives, improve the standard of living in that area.
Exactly. Why would anybody say, "How dare you come and teach me a way to improve the things that I'm trying to achieve"? It's absolutely, it's a very, people look back at history and they don't understand it, and they pick up on a few odd things that they think should make us feel angry, that are nothing to do with the complete story, I think, that comes from the colonial experience.